Okay, let's get into this. We often throw around the word karma, right? It's this kind of abstract idea. Do good, get good, do bad. Well, bad comes back.
It's usually pretty vague.
Exactly.
Like, hey,
But what if it wasn't vague at all? What if the universe had, I don't know, a calculator for consequences? A totally predictable, non-negotiable formula that operates with the cold, hard logic of algebra.
and that arresting idea that karma is fundamentally mathematical, that's really at the heart of the sources we are diving into today.
Okay, so this isn't just a philosophical exercise.
No, not at all. This deep dive is based on a meticulous, documented account by a police captain, a man named Nitipum Navarat. He recorded the story of one of his former subordinates, a police sergeant Bancha, and his whole squad.
And our mission for this deep dive is to explore what the author actually calls karmic mathematics. We're looking at the patterns, the stunning, almost unbelievable irony where the destruction these men inflicted on nature.
On these bees specifically.
Right, on bees was later mirrored, precisely mirrored, in the destruction of their own lives, their families, their homes. It's a compelling case for a clear structure of cause and effect.
And the sources present this not as, some old folktale, but as a documented case study observed over 2 decades. That gives it a really sobering framework. This is a story about consequences that take a very long time to unfold.
20 years, to be specific. So let's set the scene for that initial action, the setup for the whole equation. We're going back to the mid-'80s, right? 1985, 1986.
That's right. The narrator, Nitipum, he was a platoon commander for the Border Patrol Police in Kanchanaburi province.
For anyone who doesn't know, that's way out west in Thailand, on the border with Myanmar.
And the sources are very clear to emphasize this wasn't just remote land. It was, and I'm quoting here, true dense forest. Nature was still in charge there.
And it's in this setting that a small group of his men start the clock ticking on this whole karmic equation. We're talking about 5 or 6 guys, led by this Sergeant Bancha. The captain calls them the bee-hitting gang.
Yeah, and their operation was systematic. They would go out and find these enormous established bee nests. These weren't just little hives. They were massive homes built by tens of thousands of bees.
And their method is so key to the story later on. They weren't just harvesting honey. They used smoke and often fire to drive out or just displace tens of thousands of bees.
That's the key word, isn't it? Displacement. It created total chaos and homelessness for every single inhabitant of that nest.
And the source points out this huge imbalance of effort. It takes this huge population of bees so much time and collective work to build their shelter, their entire society.
Right, their whole world.
And yet these men could destroy it all, displace that entire population in less than an hour.
It's just complete annihilation of their home. This wasn't just taking a resource, it was destroying the shelter itself, making its inhabitants wander.
Precisely. That is the central destructive theme. You destroy a home. And that action, according to this account, creates a kind of debt that the universe will eventually collect on in a very specific way.
So the equation is set.
Okay, let's fast forward. 2 full decades. It's 2007. The narrator, Nitipum, he's no longer a platoon commander. He's a member of the National Legislative Assembly. A big deal.
A very big deal. And that's when Sergeant Bancha, now retired and on a pension, walks back into his life. He shows up looking for a job as a driver.
And the way he describes his own life, it's just heartbreaking. He tells his old captain, life is ruined in old age. He says his family is broken, he's drowning in debt, and this is the most crucial part. He has no house to live in. His wife and kids are scattered and suffering.
It's a total 180 from when he was young. The source makes a point of saying young Bancha had a warm, lovely family. His wife was a private kindergarten teacher. And while all his peers were, studying to become officers and get some stability,
he chose the quick money.
He chose hunting, selling forest products, and leading that bee-hitting crew. He basically traded long-term security for this short-term gain that came from destruction.
And it wasn't just him. Nitipum asks about the other guys from the gang.
And the finding was unanimous. Life went poorly for every single one, every one of them. Even with government pensions, they were consumed by debt. And there was this shared tragedy. Their children became drug addicts, starting as early as middle school.
There was a total structural breakdown. Finances, family, everything.
It all just crumbled.
Okay, hold on, because this is where it gets more than just tragic. There's this specific, almost mocking irony about Bancha's one real skill.
Yes. The ironic incapacity. So back in the day, Boncha was known as an exceptional driver. Super fast, super skilled. He knew every single dangerous curve on those long, remote border roads.
He was the guy you wanted behind the wheel.
Absolutely. He was competent, reliable, which is why Nidapum felt totally confident recommending him for a driving job with a factory owner friend. It seemed perfect for him.
But it wasn't.
The friend calls back in less than a week, and he rejects him, saying flat out, he drives very badly.
The skill was just gone.
It's as if it had just evaporated. His one reliable professional capacity was just destroyed. It's this devastating little detail that kind of foreshadows the final, shocking karmic blow that's coming.
And this is where the story shifts from just a sad downfall to something else, something so precise. After the driving job falls through, Boncha ends up living at Nidapum's own home, seeking refuge.
And the narrator admits, he felt warm about this. He thought Boncha had finally found a safe place, a sanctuary for life.
But that peace is shattered almost instantly.
Boncha's son shows up, and it leads to this explosive, violent confrontation. The source says they had a physical fight. Father and son struck each other.
Oh, man.
Boncha ends up injured, bleeding, and he flees the house. He just grabs his bags and heads for the train station, displaced again.
And this leads to the climax of the whole story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Revealed in a phone call he makes to Nidapum.
Yes. In this heartbroken phone call, Boncha explains the pattern of his life. He's constantly being followed by his own son. Wherever he goes to find shelter, his son finds him. He is literally being hunted.
And then comes the line that it makes the hair on your arms stand up.
This is the moment the mirror image becomes terrifyingly clear. Boncha says his son likes to burn down the houses where I asked to live.
He even gives an example. He went to stay with a relative, and his son followed him there and burned the house down.
The precision of that parallel is just. It's impossible to ignore. 2 decades earlier, Sergeant Boncha hunted, followed, and used fire and smoke to destroy the homes of tens of thousands of living creatures.
And now, he's the one being hunted, he's the one who's perpetually displaced, and he's the one who has his temporary shelters destroyed by fire at the hands of his own son.
The destruction is mirrored perfectly. He destroyed shelter, now he has no shelter. He created displacement, and now he is constantly displaced.
And it's at this point that the narrator, Nidapum, he moves past just telling a story and introduces his whole philosophical framework.
Exactly. He sees Boncha's state not as a tragedy, but as a direct, undeniable reflection.
He calls it karmic mathematics. This is the core concept. He sees karma not as chance, but as a mathematical formula, one with an inevitable, identical result.
He literally compares it to simple arithmetic. 6 plus 3 equals 9. It cannot be otherwise. If the input is destroying shelter with fire,
the output has to be your shelter being destroyed by fire. It's not an accident, it's an equation.
And this is all underpinned by a principle he cites from Buddhism. There is no word for coincidence in Buddhism. It just removes randomness from the picture entirely.
These outcomes are calculated, they're non-negotiable consequences.
And for the author, this case study proves his ultimate thesis. If you destroy the homes of others, or make others homeless, you will end up wandering homeless yourself with a broken, scattered family.
And he suggests this isn't even a one-and-done thing. This is the debt being settled in this lifetime, but the pattern could be repeated across future lifetimes if it isn't corrected.
And this realization had a direct personal impact on the narrator. After seeing this so clearly, Nidapum stopped eating honeycomb, which has the larvae in it, and he stopped consuming honey.
To this day.
A prominent change in his own life based on observing this one terrible equation play out.
What really stands out is how this account argues that consequences aren't random. They're precise reflections of the original act, especially when it comes to destroying shelter and displacing life.
Yeah.
It makes the abstract idea of karma feel terrifyingly real.
It really does. It forces you to think that the structures we tear down for others, whether they're human or, insects, might just be the exact same structures we lose ourselves down the line. The universe, in this view, is a remarkably literal scorekeeper.
So what does this all mean for you listening? I mean, the author found that the other members of the bee-hitting gang had similar fates debt, ruined families. He even talks about seeing similar cases of precise karma in prisons.
So if the results of destructive actions really are that mathematically predictable, that 6 plus 3 equals 9 rule, it raises a really powerful question about our own lives, doesn't it?
Yeah. This whole deep dive shows us the price of ignoring the consequences of destruction, even if those consequences take 20 years to show up.
If every action is an input into this inescapable cosmic equation, what seemingly small things might we be doing right now that are setting up a precise and inevitable result 2 decades from now? What is your mathematical equation shaping your future? Something to think about.